This business is tough. Trust me, as a former dealer, I've been there. We were stuck doing wholesale with limited information. Why? Because nobody questioned it. But not anymore. In 2015, ACV Auctions was founded to provide a better auction experience, giving you unbiased condition reports, high-resolution views of the undercarriage, engine audio recordings, and so much more. And all of this in a 20-minute live auction. Get access to nationwide inventory, turn your inventory faster, and achieve a higher success rate. Sign up today. We're ACV Auctions, and you're in the driver's seat.
Hello, and welcome to today's session, From First Search to Final Sale, a case study in rebranding dealerships around today's modern customer journey. Before we start, let's review a few items to help you participate during this event. Here is a sample attendee interface or control panel. You should see something like this on your own computer in the upper right-hand corner. When you join today's session, you selected to join either by phone call or computer audio. If you would like to change your selection, you may use the control panel to access your audio pane. You may submit text questions by typing into the questions pane of the control panel. Questions may be sent at any time. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. A recording of the presentation will be available on demand through the convention portal within 48 hours. Handouts are available for download in the handout pane of your control panel. You may download anytime during the presentation. Now, I would like to introduce Chris Hadley. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Wanted to take some time and thank NIADA for the opportunity to speak to everyone. This is a great opportunity to talk about what we're doing inside of our dealerships. We've been working for a number of years to rebrand those dealerships. We've been focused on our customer journey, making sure that it meets their demands. Obviously, that's changed quite a bit with COVID and some of the impacts that we're seeing across the landscape in today's environment. JD Byrider has been around for 30 years. So any company that's been around for 30 years, there's a lot of things that you have in your mind as far as how you do business, how you conduct business. We do both sales and finance of vehicles. We work with our customers through the sales process and then through the finance process as well. So our customer journey is a little bit longer than a traditional dealership, but it's something that we take very, very seriously. We want to make sure that we have excellent service departments. We want to make sure that we have excellent sales departments and obviously the financing side of things. So going back to where we're at and how we're thinking about the business, I would start back in 2016. We really saw that we needed to invest in our credit score model and essentially being able to disseminate the risk that we're taking on as we're lending money to our customers. 2016, we invested a lot of money. We built a new scorecard and really shored up the finance side. 2018 was where we really saw the competitive landscape continue to be there. We saw lenders essentially going very deep into our market. We were losing a lot of our high tier customers, and we wanted to focus on what are the things that we need to do to retain those customers and bring those customers into our dealerships. And we set out in 2018 what we termed at the time retail sales pilot, and we wanted to test a number of different things. I'm going to turn it over to Jim and let him talk a little bit about some of the things that we did back in 2018 and some of the success we had with each one of those things.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And again, thanks to NIADA. You know, the reshaping, Chris, as you mentioned, at the start of 2017 with the retail sales pilot, really took shape in 2018 as we piloted those 3 Columbus stores, if you can remember back in March. And what we set out to do was really try to appeal to a tier 3 and tier 4 client, which for us at Byrider is a higher credit quality customer. So we set forth with that with our marketing teams, our service teams, and our sales team. And what we did, we really wanted to change the online experience. We updated the website. You know, for those of you that could remember back in the days, we had a gated inventory and you had to put it in the sales information and the sales lead to get in there to look at the inventory. So we ungated that, Chris, if you remember that. We also became very transparent with our price. Our customer told us that we really want to see Byrider's transparency around that price. we started looking at the opportunities of conducting online applications. We also looked at the improving merchandising on the vehicles on the web page. And not only that, we looked at the merchandising on our sales lots as well. And how did the customer look for vehicles when they came upon the lot? In addition, we looked at our BDC and how our BDC were handling those online customers from that standpoint, and really talked about to ensure that we were building that value of what Byrider was all about. And then we looked at the in-store process and how do we improve our efficiencies and processes inside the store. And with the help of some of our partners and vendors and folks here at Byrider IT, we had the ability to do that and looked at things such as document scanning and secure close, for just a couple of examples. The other piece we looked at was perception of Byrider and how did they perceive us. So we went to a very standardized store uniform within all of our dealerships, and we heard our customer loud and clear. We needed to extend our service hours and our offerings within our service departments. In addition, as we're handling a better clientele, we had to really go back and look at our training around the selling of ancillary products and how to handle those online approvals with this new customer base. And then lastly, we did an extensive review of our competitors as well to see what they were selling and how do we adapt as the new Byrider. And so we started bringing in some additional imports, newer, nicer, lower mile vehicles as well. And what did that yield us in some cases? Well, as I went back and took a look at those results, we only had about half the stores on that initial tests for that year. We saw a nice 4% comp store growth from a year-over-year standpoint. And then in 2019, we had the benefit of having all stores on this and saw a nice 10% lift in company store sales as well. And that tier 3, tier 4 customer that we went after, it was a great success. In 2018, we started out at a 57% of our traffic was based around that tier 3, tier 4. And so far in 2020, Chris, we're at 67%.
Yeah, it's outstanding. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I think back to the research that went into this pilot, and we did an outstanding job of really listening to the customer, and that, I think everybody realizes that's what it's all about, is listen to your customer and try to work to deliver what they want, and that's what we did within that pilot. Moving on, one of the things that we did at the end of 2018 is we really started to talk about the brand. We rolled this concept of the retail sales pilot out to our franchisees, and a number of them started to see success there. But we also wanted to look at the brand and what did the brand mean to the customer. At that time, 2019, we did step forward and essentially start to rebrand our stores. So we dropped the JD. We spent a lot of money listening to our customer. There was a lot of brand equity. So we even considered changing our name at one point in time. We listened to the customer. They said, don't do it. There's a lot of brand value there. And, you know, it was nice to hear. So we did drop the JD and left it at Byrider and updated our logo. But there was 4 pillars that were really delivered through those insights that were given by the customer, focusing on car quality, building relationships, consistency, and an elevated customer experience. Those were the 4 things that we took away as things that we needed to focus on, not only in Jim's company-owned stores, but the franchise locations. We also have a new concept, Byrider Direct, that we piloted with an existing franchisee, and we plan to roll out, where essentially we become the lender, really more of a third-party lender to our franchisee, and they take care of selling and the service work, and we take care of the finance and collections. So ultimately, that's going to be a big part of our footprint. And when you think about the number of locations that we have and plan to have across the country, it's very, very important to focus on these pillars, because it becomes your true north almost. So, you know, really the first thing, focusing on car quality. We're spending money building a buyer's app, working with some other third-party companies that essentially give us all types of information that we can put in that buyer's app. That way we'll know what kind of cars our customers are wanting. So paying attention to demand side of things, looking at what kind of cars require more reconditioning work. And the ones that are requiring more reconditioning work, those are the ones that we're going to stay away from. So using data is part of our informed decision, making sure we make sure that every vehicle is backed with either extended service contract or a warranty. So we want to make sure that, you know, from a long-term perspective, these cars stay on the road. It's very important, obviously, for portfolio performance. And then we continue to optimize on our service technology and trying to find best practices from the car quality standpoint. And then there's also a customer education piece that's really important because once you sell it, they need to maintain it. So we spent time customer education around the repair and maintenance. So again, focusing on car quality, building relationships. You know, we've been working really hard on delivering a new CRM, so that's part of it. We do plan to have a customer experience app that we're working on, and then focusing it really on what that post-sale relationship looks like with our customer. Consistency with those number of locations that we have, and when you think about the franchise footprint, they're independently owned and operated. They do follow our model, but sometimes consistency can be very hard. So we've really tried to tighten up on brand standards, really educating our franchisees on what KPIs they should focus on to drive the business, and a lot of those are really customer facing. We want to make sure that we take good care of our customer, and we want to make sure our franchisees are doing that as well. Our training is something that we take very seriously. We have a lot of online training, and we do a lot of, at this point, virtual. It used to be a physical situation, but we've gotten really good at virtual training, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then elevating our customer experience. You know, this is something that being in the business for 30 years, and myself personally around Byrider for 25 of those 30 years, it's really changed. The demand of the customer has changed what they want to do. They want to be able to shop online. As Jim talked about, price transparency. They want to make sure that they can see the price online. So delivering that to the customer is really important. So we are working on things like online approval, where a customer will know whether or not they're approved, digital STIP upload, so that, you know, they don't have to wait on us to make copies of paycheck stubs and all of those different types of things. Working on our in-store process and some other service efficiencies. So again, 4 pillars that we're really focused on here at Byrider. And you know, as we moved into to this year, was really excited. We're seeing a lot of great results and a lot of great momentum across Jim's stores and the franchise system. But as we all know, COVID-19 showed up back in March, I guess it was, and it really sent everything for a whirlwind. Jim, I know you're you know, involved with an NIADA in a 20-group setting, and I know there's a number of questions that you just met with your group here in Indianapolis versus Martha's Vineyard. So you moved it to
where else would you want to be, Chris?
Where else would you want to be? And I know you were asked a lot of questions, so we thought it would be good just to, you know, spend a little time talking through some of the things that we did operationally, but keeping in mind that even though we had to respond to COVID, we still tried to hold those pillars that we talked about at the forefront in what we were doing. So, you know, how did you respond to corporate or to COVID on the corporate store side?
Yeah, you know, good question, Chris, and it was a great opportunity to be able to meet with the NIADA 20 group here in Indianapolis. You know, nothing like just driving back and forth to the meeting spot every day. But you know, I think we as a management team here at Byrider, you know, gathered together very quickly and moved as quick as we could for not only our customers but for our team members as well. But you know, we first started by encouraging our corporate employees to work from home, which here in this building includes our collections team, our underwriting team, accounting team, marketing team, and our IT team. We quickly were able to go out and purchase and distribute computers, monitors, anything that our team members needed to work from home. So we even increased the bandwidth here at the office and assisted some of our associates with internet opportunities as well. One of the things we did immediately was upgraded our cleanliness policies and procedures, not just here in the office for those folks that were still here, Chris, but as you know, we came up with some new processes for our vehicle cleaning, our stores, and all of our sites as well. And through this whole process, we were able to share quickly with our franchise community and what we were doing as well. In addition, we initiated a disaster relief program for our CNAC customer. This forbearance program was quickly communicated to our customers via phone, text, and email. We also realized that a lot of our customers didn't want to come into the store at the time. So we quickly developed and executed a phone-based sales and underwriting process. With our centralized underwriting, Chris, as you know, it's all done here in Carmel. We had to quickly figure out how to be able to underwrite and sell a car remotely. So the team did an excellent job pivoting quickly. And it also included home delivery. As you saw states start to close down, the only way we were able to deliver a car was through home delivery. And with our help of our IT team, our strategy team, and our partners with Secure Close, they were able to help us execute that. And then employee-related actions. Unfortunately, as you have a company that's got 30+ stores and a big group here, we did some furloughs and hiring freezes in the field and here at the office. But while the associates were on furlough, they were able to keep their benefits for themselves and for their family members. And then we had weekly communication from their supervisor and our HR team. So every Thursday or Friday, we were reaching out to them, kind of communicating with them, letting them know, checking on their well-being as well. And I think from an underwriting standpoint, as probably most did, we had to look at our risk and our credit. So we decided to tighten up credit, as you know, and increased our cash down requirements, looked at our cut scores, and across all of our company stores, and kind of moved on that way.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to go through that. We did have some other actions. Obviously, it's not just about corporate stores. We try to act as one here, so it is very important that franchisees and company stores, we work together. So one of the things that we did out of this office is have daily video communication or email communication out to all the stores, all of the associates, just making sure that they understood what was going on in the environment, any changes that we had. We did later move that to twice a week, and it's something that we're still doing today. And it's been interesting, a lot of great feedback. And what I would tell you is the unity, not only across the company stores, but across the franchise system is really strong. And I think a lot of it's just because we've kind of pulled together and overcome. We also spent time talking about our customer. One of the things that we did right away was we emailed all of our customers, and we let them know that we were thinking about them and that we were very, very serious about helping them through any type of situation that may come up in their life. We also did a number of YouTube videos that were posted and very widely viewed, quite frankly, that educated around COVID, unemployment, what was going on with that, or furlough situations and other programs that were designed to help them. And again, I was amazed at the response that we got out of those videos. We did work with our franchisees and give them a period of time for no royalties. And unfortunately, we did postpone or delay our store signage rebranding. But again, we wanted to make sure that we're focused on the right things. And as long as we were taking care of the associate, as long as we were taking care of the customer, those to me were the main things that we wanted to do. And we did spend a lot of time with virtual phone calls and site visits out to the stores. We worked with our dealer board. And then the other interesting thing that we did as an organization is we did these pulse surveys, which essentially was a very, very strong benefit. And, I know, Jim, you spent a lot of time working in around the pulse survey results. So I thought maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And, I just on those early responses that you mentioned, again, just how the team utilized the collective strengths, which is, I know, one of our values here at Byrider. But to the purpose of the Byrider Pulse, when we start thinking about all of the associates, not just in Carmel, but across the states that we operate in, we really wanted to understand what was going on with them. What was their psyche and their mindset, not just with Byrider, but really with COVID as well. So we really wanted to reinforce our cultural experience and feedback exchange that we asked for so much. So we asked for their opinions, and we listened and were able to react. We did 3 brief surveys, as you know, Chris, here, and got a lot of great responses along the way, and really kind of measuring for, the anxiety, work-related, personal-related as well. What were their opportunities or challenges or roadblocks from getting their work done? Whether they're working from home now and not used to that, so there were some challenges around there. And then any social support. So what outside of work help can we provide them as well? And then the effectiveness of our responses, from communications to supervisor support to whatever they needed, we were there to help support from that standpoint. So it was definitely a great learning process for us as well.
Yeah, and some of the other neat things that I think we did, and I shouldn't really probably use the terminology neat, but some of the real more impactful things maybe that we did is we really took to social media, and through this COVID period, things can get lost. I mean, some of the success stories that we had, we just had our Warren Leonard, who is our CIO here at Byrider. He was named basically in the Indianapolis Business Journal CIO of the Year. So that was just absolutely outstanding. I was very, very pleased and congratulate Warren on that honor. But we wanted to make sure that we got that out. That didn't get lost during the period. So that employee recognition, really, really important during this time. Other things that we did, we are very involved in the Heart Association, and there's a walk that we have here in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, it had to go virtual this year, but we still did raise over $30,000. Normally we raise a little bit more, but we did raise over $30,000. We had an event here in the Carmel office where people came in and we did a walk around the block, a little over a mile. And again, it was just great to see a lot of people show up, and people that we hadn't seen in quite some time. So it was very, very impactful. And again, those are very important things. And then we did take the time. The Boys and Girls Club here in Indianapolis, it's a new endeavor for us. It's something that during the middle of COVID, we said, you know what, we're going to pick a new charity and we're going to go out and work with them. We went out and cleaned one of their centers. We did go to a few of their outings and donate some money. So, those things are very, very important, and they're very, very easy to lose. And we wanted to make sure, again, making sure that we were strong in the communities that we're involved with, making sure that they know that we're involved with them. Those are powerful things that can help with the rebrand that we're working towards.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Yeah, so I know, Jim, we went through a lot there, and kind of question number 2. I know you got a lot of questions around, what were the specifics? I mean, it was pretty high level that we talked about. What were the specifics that you changed within your sales practice, maybe the lending practice, and how did you handle the customers in the portfolio during the COVID period?
Yeah, so great question, Chris, and yeah, we actually spent a lot of time at the NIADA 20 group just a few weeks ago on this very slide here itself. But I think what I mentioned earlier, which was we had to pivot quickly because of local and state governments were mandating changes along the way. So I thought the team did a great job helping us get through this. But if you really think about our application-based program, 90% of our applications were taken inside the location, inside the store. And with COVID, that definitely quickly changed, and more than over 85% of our applications were being taken either over the phone or online. So that really changed the dynamic for us in the stores to understand how to work with that client base. So we worked together with our franchisees. Took partnership with them across all over 140 stores, compliance, legal, underwriting. We wrote some new scripts and worked with our strategy team on helping us build a whole new process and workflow around it. We also looked at compliance checkpoints, because we can't forget that. So we partnered with our risk partners and to make sure that we were legal on the new phone process as well. We also did some listening sessions, Chris, to really ensure that we're giving that customer the best service that we can along the process with this new way of phone applications. In addition, we worked out a warm transfer with our underwriting teams. As I mentioned earlier, our underwriting department no longer wasn't sitting here in Carmel. They're all sitting at home in 36 different houses. So we had to work with that, or we had to set up an immediate callback system to work with the customers. And then in addition, we had the post-approval process. So we leveraged a couple of different tools here, Google, Facebook, and Podium to be able to do this. Some of our customers wanted to see the inventory, but they weren't allowed to get into the showroom. So we had to do some walkarounds with different features that we had. We also created a new off-site closing tool between our IT department and Secure Close. We were able to work together, create a tablet-based closing program, and be able to meet the customer at their home or wherever they asked, and able to deliver the car that way. So we were able to actually pivot quickly and get that done within a 7-day time period. So that was very helpful. In addition, and I think I mentioned earlier when we talked about cleanliness and sanitation, we created some sanitation protocols for home delivery and offsite delivery. And if a customer dropped off their vehicle, what was the process to be able to handle that customer, in the store, or if they just wanted to drop off their vehicle from that standpoint. And then we let the customer drive what they were, kind of drive the program wherever they were comfortable. If we had to meet them at home, we had to meet them at Starbucks or a grocery store, whatever we had to do to be able to meet them and meet their request, we were able to kind of operationally figure that out kind of along the way. So
yeah, it's amazing how well you adapted to the change. And I know on the origination side, just as far as Jim, you mentioned earlier that we tightened up credit, and I know that's not your exciting topic that you like to talk about.
Really.
Because I know you like to sell cars. But the reality of it is, going into a COVID situation, really you're unsure about what the future holds. So we essentially, the nice thing about the scorecard that we have today that we invested back in 2016 in is we can really tell what a portfolio is going to do, and we can really start to segment the risk. So we did cut out some of our lower tier deals. So essentially eliminated 30% of the volume that we would have expected to do on a go-forward basis. So really pulled the brakes up on that. And, we wanted to make sure that, we evaluated the environment. We definitely talked to our franchisees about doing the same. Some of them did, some of them didn't. And really it was just, it's going to be an interesting watch. And we'll talk about here in a little bit when we get into results. The good thing is that portfolios are performing really, really well. So, it'll be still an interesting watch as we move forward. We're still worried about, what could happen in the future, but, for now, we remain just kind of in a situation where tightening up on credit was something that we wanted to do. We talked a little bit too about the disaster relief policy and collections. The one thing that I will say, and something that we did very early on, and in fact, I think it was one of the first conversations that we had in this building, was what do we do for our customers? And we quickly went to work on this deferment program, which is more or less a forbearance program. Got it approved through all of our lenders, and in fact, many of our lenders commented that we were the first to the table, so we were very quick to respond. We notified all of our franchisees, and I think it was very helpful in their portfolios as well. We did stop any of the repossession work that we were doing. Some of that was due to state mandates, but on the flip side, we also were looking at our customers. And again, it is about the customer, it is about our employee, and those are themes that we hold true in this office here. And then, we just wanted to make sure that we tracked them and reported the credit bureaus accurately and all of those things. So we did spend some time focused on that. And then what I would say is that from a just a deferment standpoint, for an information piece, about 17% of the portfolio across the system was given some type of relief during COVID. The good thing is that those trends have really dropped off, and were much, it was a great success. So really happy with what we did there. I know that as we move forward, one of the other questions that probably is on everybody's mind is it's great to hear that you guys are doing all of those things, but let's talk about what the results have been and what do the numbers look like. So Jim, I know that's probably one of the questions that you got at your 20 group here not too long ago, and I know that we get that question all the time, but what have the results been through this COVID period?
Yeah, so that was another question that we spent some time on kind of collectively, and we all kind of shared around the table of how we were all doing and how we all could get better. And that's what we appreciate about those 20 groups with NIADA, and Chris, with your 20 groups that that Byrider sponsors as well. But sales have been impacted, really for a number of factors. And first and foremost, when we had to unfortunately close a lot of stores temporarily, just based on COVID for a short period of time. As you can see that sales dip there right when COVID hit, we were on a nice trajectory. If you take a look at January and February and the first part of March, Chris, it was looking really solid, and then COVID hit. But as you can start seeing, we started opening stores back up in June, and since June we've seen a nice lift in sales. And like I said, we had 12 of the 30 stores that were closed for a length of time. We had some stores that Chris reopened in June. We had some in July, and then the remainder of the stores opened back up in August. I think, as we mentioned earlier about the credit tightening, we're approving about 26% fewer applications due to those tighter credit standards that Chris and I talked about earlier. And we've also seen, I think it really came, Chris, when we started taking phone applications over the phone, just people sitting down, starting the process early.
Yeah.
We start seeing a little bit of a lower quality of applications. I think we're getting them on the front end of their shopping experience. So we also drove down inventory really to lowest levels we've ever done to really preserve cash, because as we were talking literally on a daily basis, we didn't know what COVID was going to bring next. So but right now we're doing everything that it takes to bring those inventory levels back up.
Yeah, and the nice thing to see about that is just the fact that while sales are trailing 2019, I would say it's by design within the company stores. So I know that as far as the benchmarks or the goals that we've set on a monthly basis, that you've done a really great job with your teams, and you're hitting your goals that are being set. So my hat's off to you.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate that collective group here. But yes, but as you can see here on this slide here, we drove the incremental year-over-year applications really through that phone process. And even with tightening up credit, you can see that approval percentage really kind of dipping down from a year-over-year perspective. But take a look at that trajectory on the application piece. It's just phenomenal. And I'll give you an example. For the month of August, the teams were able to drive 1,200 additional applications from a year-over-year perspective. So just an awesome piece to watch. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we're getting that customer really kind of early in their shopping experience from that standpoint. And with that said, we had a lot of Chris, we had a lot of government assistance and some cash, I think, a little bit. In addition, with that credit tightening, as we mentioned earlier, we had some cash down requirements that we increased really by tier. And so we have seen nice cash down payments go up 71% year over year. We double checked that number, and it's really 71%. Yeah. So I was pretty excited to see that. But it is something that we monitor here in the office on a daily basis, really by stores. So you can really see that most of our deals are sitting in that $500 to $600 down range for the most part, but nice trajectory up in cash down. In addition, we drove inventory, as I mentioned, down to really kind of preserve cash, not really knowing what COVID was going to bring us. But if you take a look at where we're at in the month of January, really 1,600 vehicles on the front row for those 30 stores that we had, and we dropped it all the way down in the low months of May and June, and then slowly but surely, inching that up back in the month of August and really September, and able to really bring it back up to about 700 vehicles ending the month of August. So heading in a nice direction. But one of the things that we had to pivot quickly as well in our acquisition side of it was moving to more auction based, and we were kind of 50-50 split with auction and wholesale. And then we were purchasing a little more on the auctions, kind of in person. Yeah. About 30% of our traffic was being built kind of internet based, but we switched that as well because the auctions closed down as well. So we had to quickly pivot that as well. So we purchased about 30% more vehicles online. So that was a great learning as well, which we spent some time at the NIADA 20 group as well, talking about if you don't have an internet buyer or you're not used to it yet, start getting used to it.
Yeah, one of the interesting things to be, Jim, just back to, talking about the rebranding situation in the RSP is we changed very consciously the inventory types of vehicles that we were buying. And even as tight as inventory is right now, we're still having those conversations here in this office about maybe we should tweak it and test this and test that. So again, staying very, very core to what we set out to do, even during this period of time.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about both of us being in this office. We can take the learnings from our franchising partners and company stores and really kind of make it the best. So definitely appreciate that. When you look at our portfolio performance, it's really exceeded, Chris, our expectations. I think our bank's expectation and everybody else's. But pretty excited to see that we're really in line with our pre-COVID forecast levels, which is exciting to see. Our payments exceeded forecast in the month of June and July. And, as we started to see some of that government money start to dry up, we were in forecast with the month of August as well. So pretty exciting. And Chris, I know you mentioned we hit that top mark of 17% on that forbearance. We're down to 3% right now.
Yeah, it's strong. So, franchising, I mean, that's something that, just to give everyone a little bit of a different look, I guess, is what I would say. Sales results do trail 2019, much of what we saw in company stores, right? We did have about 94% of our franchise locations that were impacted by some type of state mandate, whether full closure or set appointments or delivery at home, those different types of things, but 94%. So a lot of people were really, truly impacted across our franchise footprint. And we definitely saw the month of March and April was pretty tough. But when you look at June and July being flat year over year, pretty excited about that. So, sales have really kind of picked up across the franchise system. Again, inventory levels are definitely a large focus for us on the franchise side. But I do remain very, very optimistic about the future. We're spending a lot of time on our marketing efforts, and I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Our quality of our portfolio originations, as we've talked about throughout, the tiering that we can do within our credit calls is pretty spectacular, and we've definitely been talking to our franchisees about that over the years. It had tremendous 2019, which I think is bleeding through into 2020 as far as their credit performance. The good thing is that that continues to improve even during this COVID period. So we're doing about 10% more of the higher credit quality deals this year. So it should be a good 2021 across the franchise system. Portfolio performance is definitely a bright spot. We did see that spike in April, but now it's definitely down to pre-COVID levels. So we're excited to see that. August, we ended at 9.75% one-day plus, which is a really strong number, 4.43% 30 plus, so good numbers there. Our charge-off on our portfolios on the franchise system, 90-day rolling average of 1%. August was 0.97% as a percent of the portfolio. So just these are historic numbers for the franchise system. And, it's just a different environment. Is it the scorecard combination of both? It's probably a combination of the both. So we're doing some nice things there. Our collection dollars as a percent of the portfolio outperformed in 2019. And the nice thing is that the healthier the portfolio that the franchisee has, the more money that they make. So having a really solid financial year across the entire franchise system. I'm very, very excited to see that.
Very impressive, Chris.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah, so Chris, you've asked me a lot of questions, so I got one question for you.
Yeah.
How has COVID changed the outlook in the future for Byrider?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, Byrider has been around, like I said, for 30 years, so for a very long time. And we set out back in really 2018 to reshape the brand. Spend a lot of time on those pillars that we talked about a little bit ago, making sure that we hold our customers at the forefront, making sure that we hold our team members at the forefront, franchisees all across the board. But what I would say COVID has done is it's really given us a mindset of acceleration as a key. We all know that customers are shopping differently, and we all know that the landscape across the entire really the entire world has changed. People just want to do things different, and we're recognizing that. We have recognized that. So there's a number of things that we're doing. Our awareness and consideration. So we've invested a lot of money here recently in just Google Analytics and bringing all of the data that happens out on the web, bringing that in-house and really trying to get underneath that data to figure out what our customers are looking for, where are they having pressure points within our online experience. The awareness, the consideration, those are all factors. The other thing that we're doing, we obviously have a lot of franchisees, and those franchisees want to market just a little bit different here and a little bit different there. So understanding that footprint and collecting all of that data from all of the different places and all the different franchisees in the company stores, and really formulating what best practices looks like. And as we formulate what best practices look like with a lot of different test kitchens out there, we're going to be just absolutely set up, and we're really focused on accelerating those efforts on the analytics side of what goes on the web. We've talked about the online experience, and that again, it goes back to one of our key pillars that we want to focus on. So making sure that our customers have a very simple process online. We're actually working on full online approval. That's something that we are expecting to deliver this year. That was something that we set out in this year. We have not lost focus at all on that. So very soon our customers are going to know, are you approved? And that's what we want to do, is give them that approval. We want to be able to capture their steps online. We want to make that process seamless. I think our next step will probably be e-commerce. I don't want to get ahead of myself or you know, I guess spoil anything that we're working on. But at the same time, it's just where the consumer's mind is going, and we've got to recognize that. But again, I've heard some great comments over the years. We want to let customers do as much or as little as they want online, and we were going to give them everything that we possibly can. So a lot of time is being spent on our efforts there. Definitely the purchase side of things. We just entered into our 4th generation risk scorecard. That's something that we're going to continue to evolve, continue to disseminate risk. Obviously, you know, the landscape of a customer's environment is changing. When you look at people working from home, they may be looking for different cars, different jobs, different pay schedules, all those different types of things. We need to make sure that we're on top of, especially when we're lending money. So investing in that is really important. And then just from a closing, you mentioned some of the great things that you did through that COVID period. So those were things that we were more reactionary. We had on the roadmap, but we also realized at this point in time, we need to work to try to accelerate some of those things. So those are things that are on our minds. Those are the things that we're focused on. Post-purchase experience, we have a new service module that we're getting ready to release later this year into the first quarter of next. And we're pretty excited about that because it's going to give us more relationships with our customer after they buy the car on the service side of things. So we really want to, again, maintain that relationship, not just when they're buying a car, but what they're doing after they've bought that car, and making sure that we're servicing it well. So we do want to, again, that goes back to the brand pillars. And then loyalty and retention. The customer app, we do plan to roll out a loyalty program at some point here in the near future. This is something that we want our customers to have the ease. We do realize that people are using their phones, and I think everybody realizes that more now than ever. And we want to be connected to that customer through their phone. So giving them the opportunity to make payments, schedule service, even buy a car. Those are the types of things that we're focused on. And again, it goes back to making sure that we're taking care of our customer, making sure that we're taking care of our team members in our stores, our franchisees. That's what will help us move forward in the future. So, you know, COVID was a really difficult point in time for, I think, everybody. And when you think about all the things that we set out to do prior to COVID, and you think about all the things that we're doing now, you know, we're accelerating, Jim.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And early test on that vehicle service module, Chris, coming back really good. The technicians and the team members are absolutely love it. So I can't wait to see it completed.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, you know, I again want to express not only for myself personally, from Jim, really from the whole team at Byrider, the franchise network, that you know, we're thinking about people out there. Obviously, COVID has affected people in a lot of different ways. You know, we're hopeful that with all the things that are going on in this country, that it just strengthens us. That's how we're viewing it here at Byrider. So thank you from Byrider. We're going to turn it now back over to NIADA, and again, appreciate the time here this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to our presenters, Chris and Jim, and to everyone in attendance today. That's all the time we have for today. We will compile any unanswered questions submitted, and the presenters will respond directly. Once you leave today's session, you will receive a survey on the presentation. We appreciate your time in providing us with valuable feedback. To attend the breakout session, please return to the convention agenda and select the link to log into the next session. On-demand content is available at your convenience in the on-demand section of the convention website. On behalf of NIADA and our presenters, thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of your day.